Let's get into this pattern, Butterick B6875. It's a Mrs. Top, and it has a little detail, little opening here. So I think it's really cute, and I think it's going to look really nice. I'm going to do view B, which has elastic around the sleeve opening, and it has the detail. Other views include this one with the open sleeve, and this one without the little detail. So first things first, need to cut out the pattern pieces. View B, I think, only has 5 pattern pieces, which I cut out. I originally cut out a 14, but looking at information online, I think I'm going to cut it down to a 12 because I don't want this to be super loose. So I'm going to cut it down to a 12. I'm normally a size small in like regular clothes, so online it says small is more of a 12 than a 14. So I'm going to cut it down. There's the front piece, the back piece, and a few more pieces. The facing, this is a guide for elastic, and a back facing. The notions that are needed only are lightweight fusible, so not much is required. Oh, I do need a button. Also a 1/2 inch button and 1 inch wide elastic. I will have to see if I have a button. I didn't realize that. But we'll get started, and I have this really nice deep pink silky type fabric. The fabrics that are recommended are charmeuse, cotton blends, crepe de chine, double georgette, and other silky types. So based on the feel of this, I feel like it's pretty silky, and hopefully it will work. It's really nice. It doesn't really crease or anything, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this looks. All the pieces have been cut out, so we can start putting them together. First, we put the 2 back sides together and stitch, leaving the seam above this large dot open. There's a mark on the pattern that says stitching line on the front piece, so I'm going to attempt to mark it. I use pins to have a placeholder for the bubbles. So we'll see if this shows up, this kind of purplish. Alright, hopefully that stays put. Put the back part here. Let me mark this one as well. Put that together like this. Matching the notches. And then I'm sewing under the arm on both sides. Actually, the instructions say to pin at the right shoulder. So the right shoulder is the one without the little over thing. Stitch just this part. So I applied the interfacing to the back facing, the front neck facing and the 2 back facing pieces. I am pinning the 2 back facing pieces together, and I will sew along this edge up to this point, which is where the big dot is. And then once I have that, I'm going to take that piece, apply or attach that here to the front neck facing, and sew only on this side. Right here, we need to pin the facing to the top. So this is the facing. Sure it all lines up. For some reason this notch is a little lower than expected. So I think I'm missing a notch. This is the back side. Let me get this is the back side. So there's only one notch. Instructions show a second notch, but I don't see that notch, so I'm just assuming that's going to be a mistake, and I'll just pin it to the edge. There's no notch on this pattern either, so I'm guessing both of these two notches here are a mistake, and not supposed to be there. So I'll just pin it as it looks to be correct. So make sure that these corners are lined up. And pin, there you go. So I have to pin, or I have to sew this, then sew up here to this point, so back up here and along here. And then the stitching line on here, on the facing, so I'll be able to stitch the stitching line. So I need to stitch here and here, and we're going to cut in between. All right, so the facing is stitched to the shirt all along, including up this edge here. The next step, it says, is to understitch. So from my understanding, that means to open out the facing and to stitch very close to the seam line on the facing side. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and fold this part towards the facing and stitch very, very close to the seam allowance here. Before I understitch, I'm going to clip the edges of the curve so that would help it kind of curve out a little more. So I think I did something terribly wrong. Here's the facing strap, but the other part of the strap is in here, and we have this piece right here. So yeah, I think I did something horribly wrong. And don't know how to fix it. Maybe I'll just take it apart and try again. Oh. So I think what's wrong is I didn't slash all the way to this just because, I don't know. Alright, so what I'm going to do is kind of reinforce this area with some more stitching, and then I'm going to remove these stitches just because I can't clip all the way in there. I just don't think it's possible. So alright, so that's a little better and also a little worse at the same time, but I think that's the best thing to do for now. Alrighty then. So the lining has been sewn in. I tried to understitch. I don't know how well that went, but tried to understitch, and the facing has been turned inside and pressed. So now the most important part. I need to, okay, so this is the lining. Next time I really need to get some fabric with two different sides that have different, like the front and the back look different. I need to figure that out. Anyway, so this is it, right? Right? This is the back, which means this is the left shoulder. This is the strap. The instructions say to twist the strap twice and pin end to left shoulder. If this is the back, then this is the left shoulder. See, these instructions are not the best. Twist strap twice and pin to left shoulder. So 1, 2, right? And I'm going to assume this is the shoulder I need to pin to. So I'm going to, I twisted it twice. So it needs to go here, like this, twice. Okay. Okay, so I just went for it, skipped all the basting and just stitched. But okay, so this is the back. This is the front. This is the, okay, I see something. Then I just need to stitch this, the under sleeve thing. So put this together, matching the notch. It's a little better. Do the other side and just stitch underneath. All right, so the underarm area has been stitched on both sides, like that. One of the last final steps is to insert the elastic in the sleeve. So this is the guide for the elastic. This is the length of elastic that we need. And what we're gonna do is turn the sleeve up. Fold line is here. First they want us to stitch the sides of the seam allowances down, then fold line and fold under 1/4 of an inch and stitch around, leaving a hole. So I'm gonna go to the iron and press and get ready to stitch down. So my first attempt at sewing the sleeve with the 1/4 inch folded under was a disaster. So I just decided to try just stitching with the raw edge, and maybe I'll try to like pink it or, you know, finish it some way, but we'll see how this turns out. Alright, so this is the best I could do. This sleeve is weird. It just looks like it's something weird going on with this sleeve, but hopefully when I put the elastic, that won't matter. Measure it out. Put it at one end of the elastic. Place it in the hole here and guide it on through. And flap it over a little bit and sew it down. And then sew this closed. All right, the sleeve is sewn. All right, let's get this over with. I accidentally cut into some parts of the shirt trying to pink the inside edges, which is awesome. And this sleeve is a little too big, while this one is looking good. So that's great. One of the last steps is to do the hem of the bottom. Just need to keep this open and fold up. It probably would go better if I learned how to baste. All right, so I'm just going to baste along the bottom edge and then attempt to fold under and sew under the raw edge. All right, so the bottom is hemmed. It didn't go as poorly as some of the other things did, but it's not super pretty. A little uneven in spots. So something to work on. So that's done. The final step is to insert the button. So this flap in the back is open and then we need to insert a button. I got these buttons from a local fabric shop. Thought it would go really nice with that. It's a 1/2 inch button. Oops. It's got a little thing in the back. So guessing, so put the button here and make a thread loop. See that? So I'm gonna use this thread so it kind of blends in. So a couple of things about this project that I think could have went way better. First of all, the fabric that I used, I don't think was right for this project. I don't even know the exact type of fabric it is, but it was very slinky and it had a little bit of stretch in it. And so it might have been a jersey type fabric. It was one of those fabrics I got at a discounted rate, and so I don't really know what kind of fabric it was. So I think if I used a different type of fabric, maybe even a cotton fabric, I think it would have been easier to sew, especially the hems and the sleeve part, and that might have been better. I also think if the fabric had a print to it, it would have been more forgiving in terms of some of the mistakes. A print would be able to maybe hide some mistakes that you make during the process. So if I were to do it again, I would use a print. But the final product, I don't really like it. It didn't look exactly like the model looked on the package. The neckline was a little higher than it looked on the model, and the twisted detail at the neck didn't really come through when I was done, so it didn't really look like it looked on the model. Also, I think I cut it too big. It just kind of is like a bag on me. It's not really fitted, so maybe if I were to cut a smaller size, it would have looked a little better. So let me know, did you try this project and how did it go for you? Thanks for watching.